We're at Birregurra and finally the 2016 hay season's underway. Behind me there, that's Steve Lure, and we're going to go and catch up with him because that big blue tractor you can see is the brand new New Holland 315 horsepower HD tractor. He's had it for about 8 weeks and I'm keen to find out how it's performing for him.
So we've been contracting for 10 or 11 years and I've had New Hollands right from the start. We started off with second-hand New Holland tractors and then moved to new ones. So I've had T7s for the last 7 years. I've only had this one for about 300 hours. So far it does seem to be a hell of a tractor compared to the previous models. I think just because of the sheer size of it, the horsepower, the comfort and everything like that, it does make it a lot nicer tractor to drive. The main difference is between this model and the previous models of T7 is it's basically 20% bigger, 20% longer, 20% heavier and more horsepower. A tractor like this will sort of put 1,300 hours on it in a year, so it becomes very handy for us to use on a large range of different gear. We'll also swing it onto a large square baler at times and then also onto a large muck spreader if we need to. If you're not running conditioners, yeah, it does it fairly easily. Find the advantage of that is we can run in 1,000 economy, use less fuel. It's a very comfortable tractor to drive, so the efficiency at mowing at high speeds and how comfortable it is, you can get a lot of product through it in one day. So it's an option of what they call blue power. You obviously get the different paint, the silver tyres, silver grille, and then inside you get Auto Comfort Deluxe seat, leather steering wheel, leather passenger seat. It's mainly for a looks thing. It looks pretty smart in this colour, we think. Also for a comfort thing. When you're doing long hours in the tractor, any extra advantage you can get is always helpful. The reversible fan, which has also been a feature in the last few T7s we've had as well, but especially with the front mower, being able to clear that radiator and the front grille with all the seed heads blowing off the front mower is a big advantage. And then the other things that I suppose stand out about it is the front axle. It's a heavy duty front axle and they've changed the front suspension in it, so it's a lot more comfortable ride. And then also Sidewinder armrest, and I've also got 2 integrated IntelliView 4 screens in this one. So I run my GPS through it, ISOBUS, all those sorts of things. For a Vario transmission, it's very easy to teach someone else how to drive it. Everything's marked pretty clearly on how it works and everything's at your fingertips and easy to reach, and it's laid out very well. Yeah, the exhaust brake's just another extra from that New Holland offer. We've fitted that because I found with the other models of T7s, they used to overrun downhill, very hard to slow down. One complaint I've got, the steps are a bit too steep and it's sort of like there is one too many there. It is a bit difficult climbing in when you've got things in your hands and stuff like that. With the AdBlue filler there, with the diesel tank filler coming over the top of it, it's very hard to get 20 litre drums in it. On this model, it's up to a 600 litre tank, which does help us in contracting. With the older models, when we were at 400 litres, you could use it in a day, and it was always difficult to be running fuel around and all the rest of it. So the 600 litre tank guarantees us we're going to get through a day, probably a day and a half, 2 days, depending on what job you're actually doing. It definitely is, with auto steer and the headland turning management and all that sort of stuff, it definitely makes it a lot easier and a lot easier to do longer hours. You can get out at the end of the day and don't feel anywhere near as tired. I do find all that helps. I'd probably do it again. I think in contracting, you sort of want to stand out a little bit and make sure that farmers want you to be there on their place. So I think every little edge you can get helps. So I definitely would probably do it again. We're contracting sort of all over the state and up into New South Wales, South Australia as well. We move things around on a truck all the time. So the size is a big key factor to us, and this tractor is very compact for how high a horsepower it is. I mean, you can still use it as a smaller tractor. The manoeuvrability of it, the vision out of it, all those sorts of things still works for us, rather than going to a big American-built sort of drawbar tractor for the horsepower.
So that's the New Holland T7 315 HD. It's bigger, it's more powerful, it's super quiet inside the cab, and it's really comfortable. But of course, you can find out a lot more in my full review in Farms and Farm Machinery magazine. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.